Hey guys, Casey Scanlon here, Major League Fishing Pro Circuit Pro. We're here at Truman Lake. We just wrapped up the Toyota Series. I live at Lake of the Ozarks, been coming down to Truman since I was a kid. I used to have a storage unit over there at Bent Tree Harbor, and would drive down from Kansas City and fish every second I got. So it was great to have a bigger tournament here on the lake and get back to some of the fishing I remember growing up. I learned how to tournament fish here, and I actually won a boat at Bucksaw Marina in a tournament. Gosh, I can't even remember when it was. It's been so long. Probably almost 20 years ago. So and that kind of inspired me to want to be a professional angler. You know, I walked away with the keys to a tracker boat, and it was a great feeling. And now we're back, and we just wrapped up the Toyota Series here at Truman. Great tournament. We're here in the parking lot, just catching up with some friends, family, and great event. So I was able to make the top 25 cut in 7th place. Ended up finishing 21st, had a slower day today. You know, the weights were really tight, so I went out there and kind of swung for the fences today. Did a few different things trying to get the win, and unfortunately fell a little bit short. But these guys caught them this week. Truman Lake is usually a grind out here when you get to September. Most lakes are, and this week was no different. So had 2 limits the first couple days of the tournament, caught about 10 to a dozen keepers each of those days, and then today was a lot slower, just weighed in 2. But to catch those keepers, I did a variety of different things. These fish are in transition right now. You got some fish still in their summer patterns, and you got a lot of shad trying to move back in these creeks and coves, and you know, the fish are feeding on them for the fall, trying to prepare for the winter. So when I was fishing the shad bite, which was the last 2 days, I was keying in on wind-blown pockets. They had a little bit of color to them and heavy cover. You know, here at Truman Lake, what I remember about Truman Lake is filled with trees. It's still got a lot of trees, but they're not quite as full as they used to be. So I looked for, you know, places that had a lot of hardwood and cedar cover, just thicker cover in general to hold those fish. And, you know, I threw the Trophy Bass Company 1/2-ounce spinnerbait, all white, with a Hayabusa trailer hook, and was just keying in on wind-blown pockets. As we get into the fall, that bite is going to be really, really good. So I'm part owner of Trophy Bass Company. Jerry McCutcheon designed this spinnerbait a long time ago to fish here at Truman Lake, and he has done exceptionally well. He's won boats, lake houses, everything else on it, and we're still using it today. So great bait. If you come to Truman Lake, you're going to need that. First 2 days of the tournament and today started off fishing brush piles. A lot of the guys that were doing well in the tournament, leading the tournament, and the eventual winner today, Hunter, we're keying in on a lot of the same areas and same brush piles. And I was utilizing a 1/2-ounce Trophy Bass Company Pro jig. Variety of trailers on there, just wanted something with some action. This is peanut butter and jelly color. Anything green pumpkin, brown in color. Peanut butter and jelly's always been a really good color on Truman Lake, so I stuck with that this week, and that got a lot of big bites when I was fishing around brush. Standing timber in the lake is always key here, and coming into the tournament, that's what I plan to do. Majority of the tournament fishing that way, at least. And you know, I was able to get some bites late on the last day of practice doing the brush pile thing, which really helped me in the tournament. But the first day caught most of my weight, caught a limit out of brush piles, and then I was able, and offshore structure, and then I was able to get up to the bank later in the afternoon and really upgrade on this worm. So I was throwing this Zoom, I think it's a Magnum trick worm, 1/4 ounce weight, 5/0, just I think this is a 114 Hayabusa, just round bend worm hook. It's a great hook. I'm utilizing that whenever I'm throwing a soft plastic. I like that style of hook. And you know, when I got in some clearer water, I'd switch it up, threw it on a shaky head as well. But this is the Tackle HD Sticks worm. It's just a great bait to pick up when the bite gets tough. It's a 5-inch slender profile worm, green pumpkin in color. Got a few bites on that as well when I got around clearer water. First day of the tournament, and I tried to make this work a lot in practice. And Monday of our practice, the first day I got here, the buzzbait bite was really good. So we had a colder night, a colder day. You know, it started feeling like fall, and those fish pushed up that day. and was able to catch them and kind of clue me into that topwater bite on the Tackle HD Worldwide Buzzer. This one's actually a 1/4 ounce. Switched to the 1/4 ounce because I was getting a few short strikes, and I also added the Hayabusa trailer hook here. This is an awesome little trailer hook. If you guys get a chance, check it out. It has a little keeper system on there, which these toads can be impossible to get a trailer hook to run on there because they're always catching your bait. So this actually keeps your bait fixed, or your hook fixed to that bait, so it's not going to move around and catch the legs. So that was key to getting 3 of the fish that I caught on this made it to the scales, and all 3 of them were on the trailer hook. So that was really key. But the buzzbait fish, you know, they were kind of anywhere and everywhere. I was keying in on points and rock transitions. I like where a flat bank goes to a little bit of chunkier rock with a little bit of depth to it, you know, with really shallow water close by. Points are always good. You know, it's about keeping it in your hand and covering water. And was able to do that a couple of days in the tournament. To my surprise, I thought that was going to be an early deal, you know, get a couple early on it. But it seemed to me like they bit it a little better later in the day. So always keep that in mind when you're throwing a buzzbait. But all in all, it was a good week. Great to get back to Truman Lake. And if you guys are fishing out here in the next couple weeks, it should be a blast. Those fish should be moving shallow. They should be eating that Trophy Bass Company spinnerbait and square bill really good in the next few weeks. So just look for the shad when you're out there. Fish shallow here on Truman. That's always a good recipe to go out there and catch fish. And as we get into the fall, these fish are really going to start feeding. So good luck out there, and stay tuned to Truman Lake Intel.
Fantastic. Hey, Casey, a couple follow-up questions. So you fished several days in practice and the tournament. Did you make any big runs up any of the arms? Did you hit all the arms? Was there an arm of the lake for folks that might be fishing in the next week or two, fun fishing or tournament fishing, that seem to produce more keeper bites than others?
So in practice, I went up the Grand Arm, went as far as I could up the Tebow Arm, fished the lower Osage, and you know, started to venture up the Pommy a little bit before I just told myself that those fish weren't up there. You know, the backs of these major tributaries right now seem to be turning over. So the fishing back there's not so great right now in most places. That's not to say you can't go to the back of Major Creek or River Arm and catch fish right now, but what we're experiencing is a little bit of fall turnover. And the more stable water that I found was in the main lake region, you know, and I ventured up the Tebow a little ways. I ventured up the Grand Arm a little bit. I ran the Osage, lower Osage a little bit today. So, you know, they're biting, and in a lot of the main lake area, I would say a little bit better because the water is slightly more stable. Now that's going to change in a few weeks. You know, the water's going to start turning over in different areas of the lake throughout the next few weeks and months, and so they'll start to stabilize shortly after you see that turnover. And what indicates that is a different water clarity. It's kind of a green look to it. When you go through, you'll actually see like your boat leaves kind of like a little trail where the water separates colors a little bit. Sometimes you can see some floating green algae and things like that on top of the water, but the main lake area or main basin of the lake seemed to be more productive for me during the tournament.
Absolutely. And you alluded to it, you know, we're almost that's Missouri weather. You start feeling like you're getting that fall, and then it hits you with a warm up when I think we got some 90-degree days coming still.
Yep.
What do you notice on water temperature around the lake here just this week, and any fluctuations, or was it pretty? So
yeah, so I came up for 3 days of practice. I came up one day the week before, and the week before that I came up a day. So I've spent a few days on the lake, and it went from, you know, lower 80s up mid 80s to today I saw 74 to 76 degrees. So it's cooling down.
Yeah.
You know, these cool nights help, and so these fish, as hot as it is during the daytime, you know, the days are getting shorter. They know it's fall, and they're going to start putting on the feed bag. So these next few weeks should be really good.
Did you catch any bonus fish this week of any note? Any hybrids, any walleyes?
You know what? Very surprised by that. Few walleyes in practice, but during the tournament, no bonus fish. I was surprised. Normally you flip into a big cedar and you never know what you're going to pull out of there. It might be a flathead, might be a blue cat. You never know. So, but this week it was all largemouth for me. But there's plenty of other fish in here to catch. My girlfriend caught I want to say a smallmouth buffalo. Is what she said today. About a 30-pounder on her kayak. So.
Oh my gosh.
They're in here. She got the bonus fish and I didn't. So.
Man, there's a lot of folks that'd love to know a little waypoint on those walleye on Truman Lake.
You know what?
Down here in the lower end, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I was on the lower end of the lake catching those walleye. I caught them on this worm right here.
Okay.
And I caught them out of about 5 or 6 foot of water, flat points with brush.
Okay, very cool. Well, that's a heck of a week. You're walking home with the check, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I should say driving home with the check.
Yeah. So we got a short drive home, so that's even better. And a lot of times you're, you know, for me, I got a journey after the tournament. So got an hour back to the house, got a paycheck, and got to fish one of my favorite lakes in the world, and so can't ask for much more.
And the boat survived the Truman
It survived.
Lake.
The Tackle HD wrap looks a little scuffed up this week, but hey, that's Truman Lake, and that's why we got boat wraps.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thanks a bunch, Casey. Appreciate the insight. That's awesome. The members going to enjoy it, and congrats on a strong finish, and good luck the rest of this year.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Tyler.